All right. Sunday came and went, and you want me to start with the happiness hedge angle or just my overall thoughts, Adam? You tell me. Choose my own adventure. I was reading a choose my own adventure story to my kid last night. Where should I go?
Well, I'll tell you what, given that my voice sounds so bad, I'll let you rant as long as you want to.
Well, I think I'm going to disappoint people. I know people are expecting me to go full on Jerry Maguire and freak out. There's not a lot of freaking out to do. I've stated it for a couple of weeks, and I tweeted it out on Sunday. Notre Dame really only has themselves to blame to being in this situation. The schedule was not that difficult. They lost 2 games. They lost to Miami. I think why Notre Dame and their fans were so upset was because of how it all played out. The committee is a joke, and Kirk Herbstreit even said as much on the show on Sunday. And I thought Reese Davis did a decent job as well of kind of pushing Yurachek with some questions. If you're going to jump Miami over Notre Dame, I've stated it all along here. I actually don't have a problem with that decision. Do it on Tuesday. Everything was in the barn on Tuesday. Notre Dame had played all their games. Miami had played all their games. You had all the data. Jump them there. That's fine with me. But you waited until Sunday after a weekend where, honestly, Adam, it kind of felt like everything played into Notre Dame and maybe even Miami's hands. I mean, Alabama was non-competitive in that game. They had 70 yards in the first half. And that looked like a team that, remember, was behind Notre Dame for 2 weeks and then jumped them because of a win over 5-7 Auburn because of a gutsy call on 4th down or because they had a 17-0 lead. But the committee, who dropped SMU 2 spots last year, but they still got in after they lost the ACC championship, said they could not drop Alabama. Once Alabama popped up on the 9 line, Adam, I was like, it's over. I thought it was done right there, and sure enough, it was. So my problem is not with the decision to put Miami. It's just the committee and how they backed themselves into the corner for all of this process. And also, it's a bone to pick with the ACC. We've discussed it too. Their tiebreak process was idiotic. They had 5 teams tied at 6-2. Miami was one of those teams. They were the highest ranked team, and the American goes with the highest ranked team to break those tie breaks if you can't go to head, which clearly you can't when you've got 5 teams tied. Ultimately, they go with Duke. Duke wins the game because, of course, and they get left out. James Madison gets in. So, I think as a fan, Adam, I'm bummed. I think this is the best team Notre Dame's had, ironically, since 1993 when they infamously lost to Boston College after beating Florida State. Danny Cannell oddly forgets that the championship ring that he has was a situation in which the team they lost to got left out of the national championship. It's kind of funny how that works. But, it stinks. And I think, too, and Adam, I imagine this is the point that you'll make from a gambling standpoint, they're leaving out one of the best teams in college football. It depends on how you want to figure this thing out. Is it metric based? Is it resume based? I think that's the thing where we don't know where the answers come from. Because if it's resume based, okay, Alabama, Oklahoma, they get in. Miami head to head over Notre Dame, fine. But if it's metric based, if it's BCS style, if it's like what we used to have, and I know Bill Conley's been tweeting about it, then Notre Dame's in, and it's no doubt. I mean, FanDuel put up odds for the projected first-round games or what we thought they would be on Sunday morning, Adam, and Notre Dame was a 5.5-point favorite over Oklahoma. But they're not in. Miami's in. Alabama and Oklahoma, we get a rematch, and, that's the way it is. So, we can get to the bowl thing a little bit later, too. I don't know. I'm not going to get all fired up, man. There are a lot of takes from people, Adam, out there who tell us every bowl season that no one should play in these games. They're exhibitions. They're meaningless. But then when Notre Dame decides not to play in a bowl game, they bring out the takes of, well, they're quitters. What precedent does this set? How dare they do this, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah, there you go. I don't know if that disappointed folks, but it's a bummer. I think Notre Dame had a real chance to win the national championship, but at the end of the day, they lost their 2 most important games and they got left out.
Well, I guess I can I guess I can be mad for you here if you want me to be, because I just like, again.
Why is, I guess let me jump in real quick. Why is Alabama getting a pass? Because they beat Georgia? I mean, look, they won the game on September 27th. They also lost by 2 touchdowns to Florida State. And I think that's the thing. And also, what really got me agitated, and I thought Joey Galloway actually did a pretty good job about it, Yurachek said he asked the committee to go rewatch Notre Dame Miami. So you're telling me are they not doing their homework? Like, I think everything about the committee is just a joke. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And the television show, we know why it's on. It's for eyeballs. It's a soap opera, but they should really do what college basketball does. You know, people are pissed off on Selection Sunday, but we don't know the whole entire process. You know, there's some great bracketologists out there who have good projections on it, but the Alabama thing is confusing to me because I looked it up, Adam. Going back to 2014 and removing those first 3 years where the Big 12 didn't have a championship game, they just like played extra games in that final week. I believe 49 teams dropped for losing championship games in the rankings. 10 stayed the same, and actually 2 jumped. The performance we saw from Alabama, to me, proved that they shouldn't be in the playoff. They are a team, and now they'll probably go beat Oklahoma, and Alabama fans will tell me to go bleep myself, but like, that was a terrible performance. They didn't play well against Auburn, Adam. This has not been a football team that is playing well, and for some reason, they're not getting punished for the worst loss by a long stretch of anyone that's in the field of 12.
Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with anything that you said. I mean, you know, this seems very politically driven in terms of the fact that, you know, Alabama and the SEC is in bed with ESPN and ABC and, you know, the Disney family of networks and all of that. So they want Alabama in. Maybe this is an FU to Notre Dame for not being in a conference, because I mentioned this, you know, the College Football Playoff Selection Committee, just about everybody has some sort of conference affiliation, and that's why they're on, you know, that board for deciding the college football playoff. Notre Dame doesn't have one. And what's really ironic is we talked about this last year in terms of Notre Dame, of like, why would you join a conference? You get to pick your own schedule. You know, you do play a lot of ACC teams and stuff like that. And you have some, you know, rivalry games that you play on an annual basis, like USC and things of that sort. But like, why would you join a conference? You don't have to worry about a conference championship game and all of that. And then this year, the committee basically said, well, you should probably join a conference because, you know, all these networks have all these tie-ins with these conferences and all that. And Notre Dame is just an orphan playing on NBC more often than not. So, you know, I think that was kind of a big driving force here. And again, I mean, look, this is not about the student athletes. This is not about necessarily the accolades and the achievements that these teams have. Like you said, this is a TV show. This is about dollars and cents. This is about making all of these big sponsors happy and keeping network executives happy and all of that. Because look, when push comes to shove, I think there are 4, maybe 5 teams that can win it all. Notre Dame would have been one of them. And they're not in this thing. And, you know, I have them as the 4th best team in the country on my power ratings behind Texas Tech, Indiana, and Ohio State. So Notre Dame should be in. And especially for Alabama to perform the way that they did against a team that they beat. Remember, last week I sat here and said Texas Tech didn't belong in the playoff if they lost to BYU because it would cancel out their 2nd best win of the season. Well, Alabama canceled out arguably their best win of the season by a large margin, and they're still in. And I really, truly don't understand it. They could have lost to a South Carolina team that went 4-8. They could very well have lost to Auburn, who had an interim head coach, no bowl prospects, nothing to really play for. Like, this Alabama team is not impressive. And Notre Dame, sure, you can say they lost those 2 games way back in, you know, August and September, but they've been thoroughly impressive since. So the committee got this one very wrong. And let's go with a little bit of a sidebar here too. The committee wants, and I think they're right for understanding this to a degree, the committee would love to some degree to have a Cinderella story like March Madness does, right? That's what makes March Madness so compelling. When you get these very small schools that go and beat these big schools in the first round or the second round, something like that. But then you get to the Sweet 16, the Elite Eight, the Final Four, and you realize why those teams don't really belong there. Nothing against James Madison. They've had a phenomenal season, right? Bob Chesney's done a great job the last 2 years. They could have really gone in the tank after Curt Cignetti left. They didn't do that. They've been really, really good. But they are a 3-touchdown underdog to Oregon. And stranger things have happened, right? I mean, we've seen big upsets and stuff like that. But I really think we should just have a group of 5 playoff. 8 teams, 5 conference champions, and then 3 at-larges. 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7, 3 versus 6, 4 versus 5. Play it out from there. Play it on the home campus sites. Like, it's cool that these teams get to be there, but I mean, I'd much rather see a Notre Dame that has a chance of winning a title than seeing a James Madison get beat by 3 touchdowns, or a Tulane play a team that they already lost to by 35 points during the regular season and got horribly outgained in that game. Like, maybe Tulane wins. I don't know. I guess it's possible, but yeah, they should just have a separate group of 5 playoff. Like, forcing a group of 5 team in there, it doesn't line up, especially if you're going to play this politics game of letting in, a team like Alabama who doesn't deserve it over Notre Dame.